Alright. That's the wrong button. Let's not press that one. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Star Station Tournament Edition. My pleasure once again to bring you Ax.Ryung. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Terran to the southeast. Versus his opponent to the northwest position, formerly of Quantic, now of IvD Gaming. In the red trunks playing Zerg, he is Gamja. This should be good. Yeah, I'm not going to be up all night. I'm only going to cast a couple of rounds of this. You might wonder why I'm still awake. It's because I think I drank 6 bottles of Lucozade today. That was a mistake. Well, it wasn't a mistake, because I got so much done. It was brilliant. God knows how much weight I put on, but I was productive, so that's helpful. Odie sends me a Christmas box every once in a while, which has stuff from England, like bread sauce, Robinson's fruit drink, and Lucozade. He sent me a crate of Lucozade, and I thought, you know what, let's drink some Lucozade. 6 bottles later, I can cast forever! Yeah, you should not do that. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Lucozade is a UK sports drink. It's not an energy drink, it's a sports drink. So, it's isotonic performance drink. Kind of like Gatorade, a little bit less bad for you. But it can definitely give you a kick. And I used to drink it all the time when I cast. Iron Brew? No. No Iron Brew. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. Not be doing anything like that, thank you very much. Gamja going to go for the hatchery right here on 14 supply. It's a 15 hatch, but nothing out of the ordinary there. Ryung's going to open up Reaper by the looks of it. Same again. Gas timing indicates that. No reason you get that 12 gas before that. But yeah, again, I'll do a couple of rounds. No, Lucozade is not available in the US, actually. Yeah, Gatorade is pretty good, but it's horribly bad for you. Oh, Jesus, it is bad for you. So, Lucosade's a bit better for you, but even then, I wouldn't drink too much of it. Iron Brew. We gave Iron Brew to Jesse, and Iron Brew is actually banned in some countries, I believe, because some of the colors that it uses in it. And Jesse got super aggressive. Like, he was really unpleasant to be around. So, let's not give him the Scottish drink anymore. That's a bad idea. Alright. Yes. Jesse is untrustworthy when it comes to Iron Brew. Alright. Ryung with the CC down, actually going CC before the reactor right there, because he's better than me. Aside from that, the Reaper's not going to do much. It's going to scout. It is not going to get much done damage-wise. Maybe it picks off a drone or a couple of lings, but that's about it. Actually, 6 slings coming out here from Gamja. That's a few more perhaps than he needs. Maybe he's not quite confident about the timing of the Reaper, because that Queen does take a little while to come out, so spilling a bunch of lings to try and drive that away. So Ryung micros around, nice and easy, no problem at all. Doesn't get any damage done, really, but he gets some information. He's going to see 4 lings, he may see 6. There's an interception coming here from Gamja, actually. Looks for the grab, does not get it. But Ryung gets some interesting information, knows that there are 6 lings out in the field, which is a little more than usual. Usually you don't need that many. Queen pops out at the right time, and Gamja with a rock-solid defense there against the early Reaper harass. Doesn't have to do any damage, he just needs that scouting information, but he would have loved to take a drone out or two, and he didn't get it. So, let's see if Gamja decides to pile the pressure on. He is going for pretty early speed here. No Baneling Nest as of yet. He's actually pulled off gas completely for a while. Second CC coming up from Ryung, which is fairly standard from him. He's a very greedy player in Terran vs. Zerg right now, which means he's very vulnerable to stuff like Roach Bane all-ins. So, he needs to watch out for that. But right now, we're not seeing anything of the sort from Gamja, who's actually pulled everything off gas whatsoever. He's gone pure drone. I imagine he's going to take a 3rd gas pretty quickly, but Ryung is going to try and deny that. And there's no other reason to stay on 2 bases, unless you want to go huge drone production. Take that 3rd hatchery. And he is going to huge drone production right now. That's the 3rd hatchery. Gamja's going to bring the lings along to make sure that the Reaper can't do anything. Reaper's just hanging around here on there, and speed is now done, so that Reaper could end up being in a little bit of trouble here. Lings are on the way, but there's already Hellions up, so that shouldn't really do much. 3rd hatchery is now down. So Ryung's in a pretty good spot right now. The reason is that Gamja has been focusing on his economy, has ignored that 3rd command center going up. He doesn't even know that it's there yet. Scouts the 3rd position, knows that it hasn't been there. He's not going to find it, I don't think. The Overlord's in the wrong position to see it, so that should be absolutely fine here for Ryung. So far, the Hellions haven't been scouted either. It's still drone production coming out from Gamja. But there's the option to swell a ton of lings, so these Hellions are probably not going to get that much done. It's unlikely he's going to be able to catch Gamja off guard. Gamja's going to heavy Queen build here, so his creep spread's going to be really good. He's going to get a lot of lava injects. Things should be looking good for him there. The Hellions have now been spotted, so it wouldn't surprise me if Gamja decides to add on some lings now. He's now mining gas, so he's going to be looking to go up to the lair. He's added on 2 more gas here. Let's see if he takes another. Might be indicative of what he intends to do. And Ryung just maintaining map control with this right now. Doesn't want to risk going too far across the map. He doesn't know how many lings are out there. He knows speed is available, so it doesn't seem like a good idea. The Reaper gets in and gets a full scout, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's probably not going to get out, but it's going to see the 2 evolution chambers. Yeah, it's definitely going to die, but it did well. So, double Evo chamber and only 3 gas. So that's an interesting one. He could still go Ling Bane for a little while, but really, with 2 evolution chambers, we might even see some Roach Hydra play out of him. That's a possibility. We could see Ling Infesta, possibly. But with 3 gas, you're not likely to see Mutalisk. You're not likely to see Aspire. Oh, wow. He's actually stayed in Hatch Tech for ages. I didn't even realize he hadn't gone Lair yet. So, yeah, he could actually go Spire eventually, but it would be a lot later. That would be a really late Spire if he decided to do that. He is getting double lings, and he is going to go Baneling, though, for a while. And that's going to be a pretty powerful combination of units for a little while. Ryung just trying to deny creep spread for the most part. And there's a lot of it, too. Double melee. There's the gas coming down. So I expect he's going to try to go all the way up to 6 gas. And then he's going to have later mutas, but he's going to have a lot more of them. And he's already going to have those ground upgrades in place, so that'll give him a solid ground army to accompany him. So that could be pretty nasty. Ryung has managed to establish his 3rd base, and he is, for the most part, playing really rock-solid standard here. Reactor's coming down, so I expect to see some Widow Mines coming out here from Ryung. 3 barracks. Starport for the drop. Start to get some drop aggression on. The nice thing is Ryung hasn't actually lost these Hellions yet. He's kept them all alive, which is really good. He's going to be able to push the creep back a little bit more. And he's going to maintain some map control. The Spire's now on its way here for Gamja. And the 6 gas are up as well. So, a lot of nasty stuff coming in the direction of the Terran player pretty shortly. Ryung's going to have to watch out for that. He sees a lot of queens. He saw the double evolution chambers and the 3 bases. He's got to know what's coming. So, I would expect to see mines coming out. There they are. Got to watch out, though. Mines are not as good as they used to be. Ryung looking for the drop here. And that's actually going to... Is it going to be spotted? No, it's going to be spotted there. Gamja is going to see that immediately with that Overlord. So this is going to be very difficult to make anything with. He's got a couple of Spore Crawlers coming up as well, just to make drops even more painful here. 4 Marines drop down, pick off a free Overlord, which is always nice to deny some scouting information. But Gamja has 2 Overlords in pretty good positions if he wants to do that again. Spire is almost complete here. If he wants to drop, he has to do it now. He is... gonna get seen, though. I mean, Gamja's map control here and his spacing is really nice. So, this is something that Ryung is gonna have a few problems with, I feel. Can't really see him doing too much with this drop. What it does do, though, is it pins the Zerg player down for a little while. It says, alright, I'm gonna drop in. He does a nice little spread drop there to try and deal with the Banelings. The Banelings actually detonate pretty badly there, so he's gonna be able to trade nicely here. I'm quite surprised that Gamja allowed those 2 Banelings to detonate like that. It was a nice little spread drop. He's going to try and take out the spawning pool. He was focusing down right there. He decides not to do that. He wants to take as many as possible. Spreads out against the Banelings. They get blocked off. Eventually gets cleaned up here. But some damage was done. Kills 3 workers. Kills a lot of lings. He might want to... actually this queen is having a really bad day. The eternal battle continues as the single marine battles against this queen. Because in the meantime, the push is coming in at the 3rd base right now. Ryung trying to apply as much pressure as possible. Moving in. The Mutalisk comes in. The Queen dies! Single link continues to work its way in here. Few Widow Mines detonate not too well, and Ryung is forced to pull back. Loses a decent amount of units in the process, but spaces out and goes for a 2nd defensive line. There are not quite enough Mutalisks to throw this back here either. Gamja loses a couple. Is the Marine finally dead? Yes, it is, but it took a Queen out on its own. It is a regicidal Marine. Out come the Banelings. The splits are absolutely beautiful. The Banelings do very, very little here. Are there enough Marines, though? I think he's just going to keep parading across the map. Gamja's got a huge amount of pressure on him right now. Did Gamja get a little bit greedy? Honestly, I just think this timing from Ryung is really, really nice. 2-2 is on the way, though, and it's pretty close to being done. So if Ryung doesn't actually do more damage here, on 4 base with 2-2, this could get really scary for him. He's still continuing to move Marines across the map, but he hasn't really done any viable economic damage. Mutalists now move in. 2-2 is not quite done yet. He's going to have to pull back with those medevacs because they're very, very weak. Targets down. Gamja with a nice pickoff. Gets 2. Ryung in a good position to fight most of this back. 2-2 was not done. So there's the GG. Well, there you go. Ryung is taking the first game in his best-of-3 series right here against IvD.Gamja. My hotkeys are broken on XSplit for some reason, so I can't change scenes, but never mind. Not too big a deal. Alright. Let me just make sure I get these scores right. There we go. Excellent. So that's really what happened. Once you get a parade push of Marines going across the map, you continuously reinforce with Widow Mines and things like that. Unless you can get that critical mass, you've got to wipe the Terran army out, secure, and then start to really hammer him. And Gamja was never in a position to be able to do that. So that's the real problem he ran into there. He still had 4 bases, but he lost most of his army. He had to do that desperate defense before 2-2 was done. He got bad trades with his Banelings. So at that point, what you're thinking of as Gamja is, I've got no units left. He's still got Marines. He's still reinforcing. My mutant count has died twice. I'm dead. And to be fair, he pretty much was. He could have held on a little while longer, but I think that it was a foregone conclusion by that point. So that's how that happened. So there you go, to the northwest position. In the blue trunks playing a Terran, it is the one and only Ax.Ryung. To the northeast position, from IvD Gaming, currently down 1 game in this best-of-3 series in the red trunks playing Zerg, it is Gamja. But I like Gamja's greed, I do, but I think that he needed to do a little bit more. Maybe he could have attempted a run-by. What I wanted to see from him was a run-by on the 3rd base, because honestly, Ryung did not defend that. He had nothing there to stop a run-by from happening. Ling run-by would have done a huge amount of damage. But Gamja was never really able to do that. He focused on trying to get those upgrades and trying to get the mutas out, but a timing was open there for Ryung to take a bunch of units and hit him hard. Do a drop, spread it out, do some good damage, and it worked out perfectly for him. Alright. Well, Gamja scouts the CC first. But he actually went hatch first, so there's not really much he can do about that. He could attempt maybe a bust later on. So we might see Roachbane. We might just see a Baneling bust straight up, but it may just be a case that Gamja decides to take his 3rd, because he knows there's no aggression coming. Like, alright, your barracks is really, really late. It's not going to be done until about the 4-minute mark. A little bit before that, so I don't have to fear anything coming at me. And I want to see just how greedy Ryung wants to be here. He might not even add on a 2nd barracks for a little while and just say, look, I want to make as much money as possible right now. I want to tech up. I want my options. I don't want to waste more money on barracks. And considering he took gas quite early, I think that's exactly what he'll do. Ryung getting just slightly supply block there. That's to be expected. The command center hadn't finished yet. So let's see what Gamja decides to do. Will Gamja try and take a 3rd base? No Lings. Well, 2 Lings coming out here from Gamja. And 2 queens, so maybe he might. Never know. The problem is the 3rd can be a little bit tricky to defend. You can take this 3rd, or you can take this one. This one's towards the Terran player, and there's a cliff up here, so you never really want to take this. Like, it mines towards the cliff, which means the harassment potential, or even a tank up there, absolutely devastating. Same with Widow Mines, so taking the space for a Zerg in these positions against the Terran, unlikely. It's more likely to try and take this one. Let's see what he does. Drone's on the way, actually. I have a feeling... Is that? No. Never mind. That's just going down there. I was going to think, is he going to take a 3rd base? But no. Not yet. So far, a bunch of queens coming out here from Gamja. And going for the metabolic boost upgrade as well. Drone's on the way up as well. Ryung just looking so far so standard and solid right now. Reactor coming up. So let's see if he decides to swap that over. He might. It's about lined up, give or take. Factory's going to be done slightly earlier, but it has to float over there. So I expect he's going to go Hellion. There we go. Straight into a starport as well, so he may attempt some drops. Could go for Widow Mines, but it's quite unlikely. Problem with Widow Mines these days is, well, you can just build spores. They're difficult to deal with. Lings surround them and kill them quite quickly. So they don't really do that much. That can be a bit of a concern there. Spine Crawler going up here. There's the 3rd base taken from Gamja. I expected that would happen eventually. He's going to have to be a little bit careful with moving any drones out to it. I think that's going to be the problem. He can't really think about doing that right now. Because he's not going to be able to defend against the Hellions. And this is quite spread out. You know, defending the natural, fine. You can totally do that. The creep spread is coming in from Gamja, so I'm liking this. He's doing this quite quickly. A Cloaked Banshee follow-up right here from Ryung. That's a little bit unexpected. Hellion Banshee can be quite effective. It's a bit of a revival of the old 1-1-1 build. You might remember that. It's something that was very effective for Puma back in the day. He won a good few championships off the back of the 1-1-1 build. This is happening a little bit more now for Terran. They want those options. Going Cloaked Banshee is a lot cheaper now, so 1-1-1 is more viable. You can afford to delay your stim. He's going in with the Hellions here. He's going to deny a couple of creep tumors, which is always nice. Spinecrawler is now moving forward, so this third base is a bit safer to deal with, and drones should be able to move across. Ryung's now going to move in again, take down another creep tumor, so that's a nice little pick-off there. This Cloaked Banshee could be a bit of a stab in the back here. Gamja just starts his lair. Hasn't got a spore up at all. He doesn't see this coming. Not yet, anyway. Banshee's up, though. I wonder where it will go. He's actually... he's holding onto it in the base. Okay. Wants to deny that scout. I don't think he's going to deny it. That's not enough Marines. He might... I think he denied it. Looked like he did. Yep, that was not scouted. Okay, well, Gamja might still suspect it. So let's see. Yep, spore's going up. He knows. He absolutely knows. He sees it as like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a 1-1-1. Cloaked Banshee's coming in. It could still do damage, though. The spore's quite nice, don't get me wrong, but this could certainly do damage, especially with 2 Banshees. And also, this is most likely not for a... It's not for snipes in the mineral line. It may very well be for a push. So, there's... That said, there's not really enough Marines to make that happen, so maybe not. The Hellions and the Banshees can definitely go in together, though, and they can do some damage. But with Spinecrawler up here and a good amount of Spores and Queens, I don't think it's going to do much. I think Gamja is well proofed against this. And that's good for him, because he's now on 3 bases pretty solidly. His drone count's getting really high. A couple of Overseers morphing in. Spire on the way. Yeah, this isn't going to do anything. So I think Ryung's going to have to pull back here. In the meantime, he's going to have a look and see, maybe I can deny a couple of these creep tumors. It's really all he can do with it. So, to be fair, this Cloaked Banshee has not got him anywhere yet. It might be used for a backstab later on, but it's really not helping him right now. He might get a couple of drones. He's looking for it. He gets 1, gets 2, maybe a 3rd. He's got to focus the Queen down, actually, as well, which will definitely work if he wants to, but he's got to watch out for the Queens coming in behind that. Nice transfuse there from Gamja, so... Yep, that does not do a damn thing, and Ryung is going to have to back off, and is a bit behind economically as a direct result of that. So we're going to see a very similar build coming out here from Gamja. He is looking for the Double Evolution Chamber Ling Baneling Mutalist composition, which is very dangerous. Gives you a lot of map control, a lot of mobility. This is something that Ryung is going to have to be prepared for, and the problem is that his Marine count's a little lower than what it was last time. You remember, around this time, with the Spire going up, Ryung was ready to attack with the Marines, he was ready for drops. Well, that's not happening this time. He built a lot more Hellions, he built those 2 Banshees, which delayed his barracks production. Stim is done, Combat Shield is not. So he will go for the drop here, but with Spores and Spines, I have a feeling this is not going to do quite as much. He may be able to drop here and make his way into the base, though. The Ling count is actually quite low right now. It's also positioned towards the 3rd base, as you can see. Trying to defend it, and a 4th being taken by Gamja. Greedy, greedy, greedy. That's potentially vulnerable if Ryung manages to figure out it's there. Alright. Gotta watch out for that Spore. There we go. There's the drop coming in. He's actually in range of it, so that's going to delay the drop just a little bit. Gamja's already responding to it, so I don't really see this getting too much done. I mean, it is a lot of Marines. It's still 16, so actually the Ling count's not that good, but there are Speed Banelings in there, so he's gonna have to pick up quickly and get out of there, and he knows that. So he doesn't get too much done with that. The Viking moves in to poke that Overlord away, but that's not really going to do much. He's going to lose that Viking if he's not careful, actually. I'm quite surprised. He doesn't lose it. Man, that was a nice pullback, but I have a feeling that was a little bit close. In come the Marines. The Banshee's coming in as well. Hellion's getting good connections. However, the Ling count is a little high. The Muta count is really low, though. This is the same thing that happened to Gamja last time. This pressure to make sure that this Muta count never got huge, and Ryung is now pushing forward. And we suddenly see his army supplies at 91. What the hell, Ryung? His macro is insanity. It's ridiculous. Massive surge of units coming out right here from Ryung. Trying to make his push in here, doing what he can. Not a good Baneling connection from Gamja up to this point. Spinecrawler is nicely transfused. It is managing to stay alive. And really the thing that Gamja's got going for him right now is that not a lot of economic damage has been done. Banelings get yet another decent connection here for Gamja. And he's going to get the cleanup and push this back. Widowmine detonation comes in once again. The drop comes in at the back, however. Ryung looking to focus down the spawning pool, and it looks like he might be able to get just that. He stims forward, gets the spawning pool, looks to try and get the evacuation, but the Mutalisks are there, so it makes very little sense. He just wants to fight it as best he can. So the spawning pool goes down, which is actually crippling, potentially, here. No more Lings coming out. Could be disastrous as Ryung attempts to attack again. Does he have the units for it, though? A lot of Queens coming in. Decent amount of Mutalisks as well. More Marines streaming in, but I don't think it's quite enough to really make this work. And Gamja is going to push this one back. Widowmine's being borrowed. He's going to get the detonation and kill a few Lings off, but that's not enough. And we've got Medevacs going down here as well. And suddenly, Ryung bleeds out on Gamja's forces as 2-2 finishes. Alright, well, Ryung needs to stop doing that immediately. If he's going to do some drop harass, that's fine, but he can't keep parading across the map. 2-2 versus 1-1 will not work. He's got to wait for these upgrades, surely. He has managed to... I think the thing he does have going for him is that the link production has been massively stilted. So he's thinking, you know what? I know you can't build links right now, so I'm going to take that out. A good Widowmine connection goes in, and now he tries to push onto the third base. It's a bit risky right here for Ryung, but he might be able to make it work. The link count is not big enough at all. The spawning pool delay was absolutely huge. Spore Crawler getting focused down right here. Widowmine's though moving in to cut off the reinforcements. The third base is under grave threat here. Mutalisks get gutted. Oh dear. This might have been the momentum he needed. It was a bit of a risk going in against inferior upgrades, but he takes out the third base very nicely here. Relinga reinforcements come in. Unborrows the Widowmines to make sure they don't detonate. Moves back to try and get into range. He wants some good connections here, and he actually connects more with his own troops than anything else. So it looks like Gamja is going to shove this back, but more on the way. The Terran parade push continues right here as Gamja tries to push this back. Does he have the units? And a nice Baneling detonation right here from Gamja. Not a quick enough split here from Ryung, and Gamja is going to clean this up. He did lose his third base in the process, however, so was that pressure worthwhile? And units lost, you can definitely see that the Terran players actually lost less, surprisingly enough. Worker supply is looking pretty good for both players. I'd say slightly better for the Terran because of mules. Another push in. Ryung, relentless aggression. I don't think he's actually... No, he hasn't spotted the fourth base here. So that's something you might want to have a look at. He maybe thinks his opponent's on two bases. That's not true right now. Widowmine's now borrowing with the drilling claws coming in. Detonations trying to come in. That's the GG. Too much pressure. And Gamja taps out. 2-0 for Ryung.